Okay, so I'm opting for just a shitty little phone video to get this thought out there right now, because if I don't, it's gonna kill me, because I probably won't get it out in a proper video. And as we all know, the best vlogs are interrupted by diesels next to you, and are also shot in your car. So let's talk a little bit about why nuclear weapons are fucking useless! Yay! Because I keep seeing this idea float around that just because, we're talking about American citizens and the American populace, that suddenly, once you factor into the fact that the government has nuclear bombs at its disposal, then suddenly any kind of resistance is trumped for some reason. Not just nuclear bombs, tanks, drones, fighter jets, helicopters, all that jazz, all that good shit that you see in like that Flight of the Valkyrie scene of Apocalypse Now, and just Patton. Things that are monumental, things that roll across the hill at about 40 miles an hour and need to be refueled before the day's over because they can't go very far. Yeah, we're going to talk about those other things, but we'll talk about the nukes first and foremost, because seriously, guys, nukes are essentially just the biggest paperweight made out of a huge waste of potential energy, because nuclear bombs, they can't just be used indiscriminately. Besides the fact that they're ridiculously goddamn expensive, there's a lot of stuff that goes into making one. It's very fucking difficult to get the materials needed to make it nuclear, much less sending it halfway across the fucking planet. ICBMs take a lot of effort and expertise here. There's a very good reason why when we detonate these things for testing, we typically do it in places that no one is going to live, because guess what? I don't think I should have to say this, but apparently I need to. The biggest reason that one of the biggest reasons that you cannot just indiscriminately nuke the United States civilian population is because it will pollute the fuck out of the country you're trying to rule. And thus, in turn, besides the fact that you're going to atomize your own citizens because they won't comply with your orders, more on that in a second, you're basically just turning America into a giant radioactive pile of shit. And really, I don't think you understand that you can't use nukes to take out terrorist cells. If that were the case, I'm pretty sure that the Soviets would have flattened Afghanistan like fucking nothing. And this weird fascination from people saying, oh, the government has nukes. Okay, are you really expecting a dictator of any kind to go ahead and just lob these fucking things at their people who they're trying to subjugate and rule? For what reason? Because once you start destroying your own people and just turning them to ash and shadows, because really, what else is there after a nuke goes off in the middle of a big city? Because you're going to drop these in a city. You're not dropping these in Iowa or Indiana or anywhere in the Midwest, because that's where so much of our shit is grown. That's where so much of our produce, our pigs, our cows, everything, that's where they come from. I don't think that you guys want to try and grow everything here in California, especially you fucking urbanites who are so convinced that you could just, oh, hey, by the way, A-bombs, do our bidding. No, that's not how this works. You need the rest of the country, because we all have to coexist with each other, okay? We have to get our meat from the Midwest. We have to get our all our food. All our food comes from the Midwest. We need the corn to feed the pigs to have bacon, okay? Even though I'm sure a lot of these people would just be fine with being vegetarians or vegans, but you're not eating that corn. And then, nukes aside, now we have to go into just the drones and the tanks and the fucking fighter jets. Okay, listen, guys. All of these are psychological weapons at this point. Everything that you're proposing is essentially nothing more than just a giant fucking mental anguish that you're trying to unleash on the civilian populace. Because, first of all, the tanks and helicopters, they do have a use. but they still have the logistics behind them that makes them not as easy to use, especially if we're talking about, like, a rebellion of the American people going against the government because, hey, you're trying to subjugate us, and you're saying, we'll just kill you all, and guess what? Tanks and helicopters aren't necessarily great for guerrilla warfare all the time. I mean, they have their instances, but not really what you want to use to just kill, like, a squad of 5 people who are going by the Wolverines. And drones are just fucking useless. I mean, when you get down to it, here's how an attack would go. Here's how 2 attacks would go if there were enough people in the area, all right? First, you would have, okay, a high priority target, and all of a sudden, boom, atomized, done, gone. They would go back to the airbase, refuel. Probably a little bit later, you'd have these people somewhere else, pretty close, but somewhere else, and then the drone would go out, boom. Actually, no, probably not even a boom, because if you're smart and know what you're doing and you're resourceful, which the American people fucking are, holy crap, we have people preparing for doomsday when there's not even a chance of it fucking happening on this continent. Oh my god, and you want to mess with those guys? More on that, but say the drone goes out, all right, and say that it has a target. How confident are you that that airfield is secure enough where that drone came from that you're not going to have a couple rednecks with some 30-06s and a few AR-15s out there just like, all right, put your shots here, here, here. After that, fucking bum rush them. And then taking the drone for themselves. Even in a perfect world for their side where that doesn't happen, the drone can strike, what, like twice before needing to refuel? It's basically a surveillance weapon. It's not really a frontline, oh my god, they have drones! Everybody run! Because you're not flying these things like in formations. You're just sending one out, taking pictures, and hoping it doesn't get shot down by a United States Marine who defected and said, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, and has a Stinger missile. And that's another thing. A lot of people don't seem to understand this, especially just left-leaning people or non-Americans, because the thing about America is that our military is not meant to be, it's not the government's own personal armed wing, okay? In a way you could say it is, but it's really not. They don't swear allegiance to the American government, they swear allegiance to the American people and the Constitution. These are people who decide for themselves, you know what? I want to don the garb of the United States Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, all of that. And they swear an oath saying, I will uphold the Constitution and protect the American people. They do not say that they will protect the American government if it starts violating the Constitution. They actually have laws and federal statutes against this. And the second they do that, once the boogaloo strikes and it's over and everything is said and done, the people who did that and went against their constitutional oath and said, hey, I'm protecting people, yeah, they're gonna get lined up and sent to fucking jail, or worse, lined up and shot against a wall for being traitors. I don't know if they'll actually shoot them against the wall. That's probably inhumane as fuck, even though I don't see why you wouldn't want to go out getting shot in the head, but whatever. I'm just saying, in terms of ways to die, that seems pretty quick and to the point. So, long story short, nukes are just fucking useless because you can't use them except against other nation states, and even then it's just mutually assured destruction. That's why the Cuban Missile Crisis didn't go farther than, hey, missiles are pointed at people, and by extension the Cold War as well. Drones and tanks and all that shit are useless because, you know what, no, we're not done yet, because that's my last point here. You know what the largest standing army on this planet is? If it was an army? American hunters. There are 12 million registered United States people who go out at the crack of dawn with either a bow and arrow, a bolt action, or a lever action rifle, maybe even a semi-automatic. ARs are really great for hunting, actually, guys. and they say to themselves, I'm going to go out there and maybe kill an animal. Maybe. There's no guarantee that they're going to go out there and find something that they can take home and eat, but there are enough of these people that they completely outnumber not just like armed people in the military whose job it is to go and hold a gun and be like, I'm going to go and shoot people that are shooting back at me in fortified position. No, I'm talking every military occupational specialty out there. There's more hunters than there are people in the military, by just fucking flat out. And you're trying to, and we're assuming that these people would have an inkling as to how guerrilla warfare works because they can stalk prey, they know how to stay out of sight, and their whole job as a hunter is to go in, maybe fire a couple shots and go out pretty easily. Yeah, I'm not seeing how this is really a good thing for the American military that's trying to subjugate its own people here. Also, there's been new studies saying that the majority of gun owners are not hunters. They're just people who are looking to keep themselves defended. Do you really want to talk about the several million AR-15s out there for this purpose? Really? Okay, now in summation, nukes are useless. They're just radioactive paperweights. Drones and shit are a logistical nightmare and not really great for anything. The American military as a whole is not there to subjugate its own people. And even if it was, it would be outnumbered like fucking hotcakes. So, with that all said, I'm Mr. Sutherland. I'm gonna go. It's goddamn hot out. You people remember to buy guns and ammo.